This is Saida Garrett, and I'm tuned in to Intro to Info with my girl Mikeisha.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. It's the Flowist is here, and I'm tuned into Intro to Info with my girl Mikeisha. All love, always.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Intro to Info. I'm your host, Mikeisha, and I'm joined by Tam and Queen of Hearts. Today is Thursday, August 6th, 2026, and we go live every Thursday from 9 until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the J King Network. So as you can see, we have 4 people on the line. The 4th person is our very special guest. Her name is Christine Matthews, and she's a therapist and private practice mentor. Just a little more on Christine. She's the founder and CEO of Never Journey Alone LLC, a mental health and wellness organization dedicated to helping individuals, families, and professionals thrive. With more than 22 years of experience in the mental health field, Christine has worked across outpatient, managed care, and correctional settings, developing a deep understanding of the challenges people face and the struggles needed to overcome them. Christine, welcome to Intro to Info. We're excited to have you as our guest today. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me. How are
You're
you all?
welcome. Doing fantastic. Queen, Tam, how y'all doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yes, Queen is fire tonight, baby.
I saw you. Your video.
switched
You
it up.
got your head. Yeah. Look at it. Look at the girl. Look at the girl. You look good.
Thank you.
Good,
Thank
friend. Christine, me and Tam were talking to you briefly before the show started. We discovered that you're from Pennsylvania originally.
Yes. From Pennsylvania. Outside. Well, I'm originally from the Pittsburgh area of Pennsylvania, but right now I'm in Colmar, PA, where I hold my practice at and currently live in this area.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, tell us how you got started in your career, please.
Well, I went to school for social work at University of Pittsburgh, and part of the reason why I got started, well, initially I did not want to be a social worker. I wanted to be a psychiatrist, but when they told me I had to go and how much money I had to spend, I changed my mind. So I went through the social work program and I became a licensed social worker. Part of the reason why I went to school for social work is because I've always had a passion to help people. I grew up in a household where my sister unfortunately struggled with addiction, and she was older than me. She's 12 years older than me. So I always wondered, like, why were we so different? Now I took one path of life and she took another path of life, although she was quite a bit older than me, but we came from the same family, grew up in the same household, parents, and so forth. And I really wanted to try to understand why this was so different, what was happening. So that's kind of what led me into like psychology, my bachelor's in psychology, and then my master's in social work. Then the want to help her, but also help others. So many people are hurting that you don't even see their hurt. And so that's what took me there.
And you've been in the field for 22 years?
Yeah.
So when you think about just these 22 years as a collective, as a whole, what stands out in your mind, generally speaking?
Wow. mainly what stands out, I've always been in the field of social work, but mental health. I didn't really vary into any other areas of social work. So I'd have to speak from the area of mental health. And what really stands out to me is that a lot of people are just pushing through. Oftentimes, we are not really taking the time for ourselves. We give a lot of ourselves to other people, and sacrifice ourselves to other people. And that, in the long run, of course, seems to take a lot away from our own self-esteem, our own how we value ourselves, even the ability to set boundaries sometimes. So I think what speaks to me now is that we have to really focus more so on not selfish. Sometimes you think when you take time for yourself, you're being selfish, but it's so vitally important to do so.
I like how you said pushing through, because it sounds like just going through the motions day to day. Just the matrix is what they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to work, come home, take care of the kids, make dinner, do it all again the next day, pushing through. But in the meantime, what's going on in your conscious and your subconscious? You're not addressing that. You're just pushing through, as you said. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah. So many people are just doing the things they have to do. And sometimes you don't even realize the things that you need for yourself because you're so much focused on just getting through the day, paying your bills, making sure your kids are okay, making sure everybody and everything is okay except for yourself. Yeah.
And being a professional in this field, how does that show itself? Because if it's not addressed, how does that come back to bite somebody?
It shows up in their relationships, the way the way we communicate with each other, the way we communicate with our children, our spouses, our friends. It shows up in our sleep, like ability not to fall asleep, stay asleep, lack of sleep. It shows up in our diet, emotionally eating a lot, just trying to maintain and get through. It shows up in how we feel about ourselves, the negative self-talk, the messages that other people have maybe poured into you growing up as a kid or outside in society. It shows up a lot in our behavior of how we perceive the world around us and then how we respond to it. Yeah.
How about people who are moody but not diagnosed with anything? Would you say that is a byproduct of pushing through?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Because you feel stuff, right? You feel the hurt and the pain or whatever it might be, the achy joints and all that, but you don't know really how to express it to other people or to tell, or you don't want to tell somebody that you're hurting because you're fearful of what they may think of you. You're not strong. You're less valued. Those kinds of things that sometimes run through people's head. And so when you think that someone's going to think less of you, you don't tell them how you feel. You just keep going most times. And so you become irritable because you don't know how to you don't want to, or you don't know how to verbally express what it is that you need and what you want from that person.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Marvin Gaye lyric, "We're all sensitive people with so much to give."
Yeah.
Tam, Queen, go ahead. I know you have questions. I know you want to jump in because I know that y'all probably can relate to some of the things that Christina has been saying up to this point. But go ahead, ladies.
Yeah, I have to say that's true. I think over 20 years, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Just mental health, it is what it is. No matter what you call it, dress it up, trendy, names. And I think I've met more people with anxiety in the last 4 years than I have in my entire life. You know what I mean? It's just like, when did you become this, person? And I heard someone going live the other day, and she said, I woke up this morning and I told my husband I didn't really have time for his foolishness because I'm already overstimulated. And she's like 50.
Yeah.
I was like, why? I mean, what made you use that word? You know what I mean? I think about 5-year-olds being overstimulated, but not 50. I think at some point you have to learn, you got to know who you are, right? And then work through your stuff. Like I tell Mikeisha all the time, she probably hates when I say it, boundaries.
Oh, the boundary thing. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
You have to set them. Like I think I should have been in social work because I like people, but I don't. But it's, but it's I don't like keep telling a person the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, this is what needs to happen. And they're like, yeah, I know, but no, it's the but no. You just gotta do it. You gotta do the work. And I wanted to ask you about how I go through a lot with my mom with this, and I try to present information. It's not respected because it's coming from me. Now, someone else might tell her the same thing, and she'll be, oh, okay, and it'll be so much well received, but she feels like because I have shortcomings or flaws that I don't know anything. But, I mean, how can you present some type of healing to a person who's not receptive to you?
Right. Well, one of the things I think is when we try to tell our parents something, they don't think that we have a right to tell them anything because they're our parents. So let's start there. So she might be struggling with you telling her anything because she should be telling you, and who are you to tell me when I'm your mother, So but I think that especially when they get older, they pretty much set in their ways of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and you telling them different is falling on deaf ears sometimes. But how's the communicate? I don't want to go into a therapy session, but how's the communication?
Come on with it. Oh, my mama.
Because don't send us an invoice, Christine. Okay, if you're gonna send us an invoice, don't do it. But
send it to Mikeisha Beth. Thank you.
And Howard University.
Communication department. Thank you. Kathy Hughes building. Thank you. But anyway, I mean, but that's the thing. My mother, she doesn't express herself. She just kind of, no, I don't. Why are you asking? It's real. Everything is secret squirrels, And I'm just like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you, And if I say, how if you're with a guy friend and the woman says we need to talk, how men just, here we go.
Yeah.
It's one of those type of situations. But then with everything else, there's the entitlement. I'm your mother, so therefore you can't tell me no. You have to, and I'm like, I'm just past that now. Entitlement is dead.
Right. Yeah.
It's all about.
We have to set boundaries with our own parents. Yeah. And sometimes that's hard to do. Because we're taught that we are supposed to listen to them and do what they say, and not question it.
I question everything.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when we get older and we have our own way of thinking, and we don't particularly like that idea of do what I say kind of thing, we challenge it. We challenge them, and then it doesn't go over well sometimes, but at some point we have to decide, even as their children, that we're not going to keep doing this hurt, if it's that kind of relationship, you need to be able to advocate for yourself and set boundaries, even with our own family.
Come on in here, Queen.
I just wanted to kind of somewhat piggyback off of what you said, Tam. Like all my years existing here, on God's green earth, this is the most I have ever heard adults, like you stated, use the word overstimulated, suffering with anxiety, this and the third. And I sit there and I'm looking like, how and when and why? You know, at this age and this point of your life, how did you even get to that point? You know, what really triggered you to have all these anxiety attacks? Because until I started learning the power in that word no, I said that word no is so powerful too. When you start using it, you'll start feeling better and the anxiety level will diminish. It will decrease. You know, the overstimulation, don't put yourself in positions that'll put you there to that point. You know, and I'm like, Tam, I get tired of you talking to certain adults for years and years and years, and it's the same conversation. It's like, when are you going to get it? At this point in your life, you should already have it together. Why are you still saying at 40 to 60 years old, you still trying to figure it out? What you want to do with your purpose here in life, you know, things like that. And I look like, wait a minute, what? Huh? At this age, you still trying to figure it out? Like, what's really, really going on with you? And the next thing I wanted to say is, our guest today, she mentioned like you get in a rut and you do the same routine to it's consistent and you don't set time for yourself or whatever. That's the basic case of a single parent, whether it's a male or female. You're so used to that routine every day, making sure everybody in that household and around you is well taken care of and limiting your self-care. You know, limiting loving your own self because you're too busy loving everybody else. And when it gets so overwhelming, people look at you like, well, what's wrong with that person? Because they the stronger person. They always look like they have it together. They always smiling and stuff like that. And I'm like, just because somebody's smiling don't mean that they have it together, that everything is straight, that, you know, their mentality level is on point. They doing what they have to do because they know it. This person need to be taken care of. Kids need to go to school. Kids' lunch need to be made. Kids' dinner need to be done. House need to be clean. I'm tired, but when hubby come home, I gotta give him his time. My wife come home, I gotta give her time. You know, you get so caught up in that routine till you lose yourself sometimes. And that's when you have all that falling out in marriages because they're like, oh, you're not the same. No, I'm not the same because we're older. We have kids, you know, we have different interests compared to when we first got together. It's just a lot. And when you start going your separate ways, people be like, well, they seem to be so happy and she done broke down or he done broke down. It's just a lot people carry, you know, with that routine and losing themselves or whatever. So when I sit back and I look at other people's situation from the outside, I can see why they may have the anxiety. I can see now why they may be overstimulated, you know, because they're taking on so much and losing themselves in the process.
Yeah. I really think that some people, you know, unfortunately, they're not taught the skills growing up. No matter how old you get, you know, if you don't have the skills, you don't have the skills, you know, and you could be 50 years old and you could tell somebody, you know, you could try to help them, but they're limited what they're limited at what they're willing to learn now at this age, and they're limited at what they're willing to do different, you know. And so, and if they didn't have the skills coming up, or no one took the time out to try to teach them, they're going based on their limited knowledge of the world around them. You know, and then there are adults trying to get into grown-up relationships, you know. Yeah. And the grown-up relationships look way different than the teenage ones, you know, but yet you find yourself with a 50-year-old man, woman, you know, in a teenage relationship. You know.
I think one of the things that we implied earlier and that happens in real life is that when we have to shift who we are to somebody, for example, a daughter and a mom, when a daughter becomes 18, it's a shift because she's now grown. So everything that you say, I don't have to listen to because I'm 18. That's one. Or when somebody gets married and then mommy and daddy were first, but then you get married, your husband is first. That's another shift that you have to get adjusted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people don't know how to. I remember when Michael Jordan stopped playing basketball and played baseball. He was like, everybody kept just knowing me for a basketball player. They couldn't accept the fact that I wanted to play baseball. It's the same thing. Like, I can't accept that you like this shift is different. I want was it the way we were, like, make it like it was Regina Bell, like they always want to be like that way, the way that they know you to be, and it's hard to unlearn it and recondition yourself, I think. Christine, what say you?
I would say that, sometimes people don't want you to change because what you're doing what you had been doing before had benefited them.
Serves them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so they don't want you to change. And it also, some people they can't see beyond what you used to be, your faults.
Sure.
If you had them, So when you change and you do better, or maybe you go to therapy yourself and you learn the tools that you need, and you're starting to set boundaries, and then you start to realize that the arguments start to happen more frequently because now you're setting boundaries and you're holding them accountable for how they treat you or anyone else around you. So now becomes that psychological games. You never been like this before. I thought you loved me. I thought we were good. All those kinds of things, because now you're trying to take care of yourself. And so I really think sometimes people, unfortunately, don't want you to change, because when you change, they're no longer at a benefit of you, and they'll keep reminding you of the negative thing. Remember when you used to do this? Yeah.
And that leverage over your head, like it's a tool to correct you, and that do more harm than good to a relationship. Constantly throwing it up as a factor when different things arrive in a relationship, and that's not healthy at all. But I wanted to mention that you stated that, okay, Mikeisha, you said when you where it said in the Bible, you mean the one that man wrote? I'm like, they wrote underneath God's instructions what the directions we're supposed to follow. Yeah, and they like, I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing it from you. I'm not hearing it from her. I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, whoa. So that household gonna have some major problems with him perceiving marriage out of the wrong order.
So you have to ask, then you have to ask, well, what did you get married for? If you're going to let your family run your relationship, and you're not going to communicate with your spouse or your significant other and let them have their space in your relationship, then why are you here? What'd you get married for? Go home. Go back to your family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get married. Unfortunately, they keep talking about, oh, divorce rate is higher. It's high because of money, financial. No, it's communication. It's people being accountable for who they are. It's, you know what I mean? As you, whatever, you could be young or you could be growing old together. Is you both are changing. Every 5 to 10 years, you change, you evolve, you do something. You should be getting better as time goes on. But some people are still, like you said, they're still that teenager and they're 50 years old in that relationship. So somebody's not going to be happy.
Right.
Right. And then you got kids on top of that. And then you have things together. So they're like, oh, we've been together this long. We just going to make it work. I mean, it's just, it's a vicious cycle, I think. And we have been programmed to just go along with it. My grandma did it. My parents are married for 50 years. They made it work. I ain't got nothing to do with your mama. Sorry. Not sorry. If it's not working, we gotta, you gotta either figure it out or you gotta move on.
Yeah.
So, Christine, are you married? I'm sorry.
I am. Yes. Yes.
You like your husband?
I do like him.
You love him?
I do.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
That's awesome.
conversation up to this point is just phenomenal. I love that we're able to pick your brain, Christine. You are just versed in this subject matter. And I love interpersonal relationships and the inner workings of them, like how people relate, how they coexist. One of the things that I get to watch is so my students, they're just turning 18, and the parents who are able to let go, like really let them allow their child to like transition into that adulthood, the ones who are able to do that with ease, I admire them and I watch them and I pick their brains, because it's a lot of helicopter. I'm talking helicopter 747 PJ personal jet, like whoa, like let them breathe, shawty.
Right.
So you have three extremes, then you have the ones in the middle. So I get me having to watch that. And but one thing I want to tell y'all that is vindication is whenever I'm on the call with the child, the parent, and myself, and I tell the parent, you need to let me deal with your child. They are 18 after all. They never ever deny me. So that's vindication. Christine, what you say to that?
Well, I think yes, we need to let our kids grow up. And we do need to give them the tools necessary. But we also have to understand that they are at 18, they're still mini adults. And you see some parents that'll say, well, you're 18, good luck. And I don't buy into that. You know, you know, I think that, and I've seen that happen with some kids, you know, and they'd be struggling. You know, struggling. I've had some kids that young people that come or want to come to therapy, and you know, they're young, they can't afford the copay or whatever it may be, and the parents like, well, you're on my insurance, I do enough. They can't. Well, I hear you, but they're only 18. They can only make so much money. You know, they can only pay so much or for themselves, and still yet, you know, they're 18, but yet they still don't have the necessary knowledge or the tools really to navigate this world, you know, especially if they're of us, a color, you know. Sometimes we need, and I think that, I mean, as far as navigating the world, you know, we start teaching our kids at a very young age how to navigate this world. You know, I started with my kids when they were, my son was, how old was he when he first had his situation, when he was called, you know, a nigger, you know? So, I think he was like 7 years old. So that's like second grade. And at that age, I had to teach him at 7, how to kind of navigate the world, you know? So, and then my daughter at a young age, how to kind of navigate this world. So I think when when they get to 18, they're still young, you know, and yes, we need to give them some space to grow. But to what point? Like how much are we giving? You know? Yeah, because they're encountering so much. Yeah.
And Mikeisha, remember we had that show where when your kid's 18, are you going to still house them and let them stay at home? Or are you going to send them out there in the world unprepared, you know, things like that? And she wasn't there for that conversation, and she even mentioned and said the same thing. They still need room to grow, even though they're 18 and the world considered them as an adult. At that age, they still need parental guidance to a certain degree. You got to let them, like I told my daughter, you have age now, you got to live and learn. I done gave you all the tools that you need, like she said, to maneuver through life, money management skills, how to try to find work, you know, things like that, and how to carry yourself as a young woman, and for my son as a young man. Now, everything that you do is on you from this point on. I'm here as a tool, as a reference. If you have anything you need to discuss, don't know how to handle or whatever, but I need to see you try to take the initiative and advocate for yourself, and take the lead and do things by yourself. Because tomorrow I can be gone from this world and you left here on your own. So you better take what I have taught you and what you have seen others use their examples as tools, or you better learn how to use Google University or community, as people that live around us or whatever, that's responsible, as resources. It's so many resources that's out here for free. Learn how to tap into them. Because I'm not going to be here. Daddy not going to be there all the time. Figure it out.
Does anybody remember Bambi and like the premise of what Bambi was all about?
The deer, Bambi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The deer. I think it had something to do with Bambi wasn't able to let go of Bambi's parents or something. Anyway, when my play mother was training me, and she was leaving, she's I'm about to retire, and I just was having the hardest time. And she was like, "Don't be Bambi. Like you got to learn how to like do this without me." And I never forget that. But it's the same thing that you were speaking about, Neek, about with your daughter. But I love what Christine said, and this is coming from her, professional knowledge of just saying, ripping the Band-Aid off on their 18th birthday is not the way to do it. By and large, they still gonna need you, but just you kind of backing away. And I think Neek, you spoke on that's kind of what your approach is on your daughter. It sounds like.
Because even as adults, we still refer back to our parents, from time to time. Hey, Mom, I just came, encounter with this, and this is the situation. This is how I try to handle it. Do you think I did the right thing? Or even for cooking tips. Mom, look, I know you taught me, but I kind of I forgot a couple steps. Can you tell me?
Right.
Or parental, okay, they did this. I handle it that way. Now, I'm not going to do that tough parenting like y'all did and beat them for everything. We still seek out for advice even as adults. We had the roadmaps. We seen how it was done, but we probably worded a little bit different from how our parents did certain things, but we still need cues from time to time. How should I address or approach it from this angle?
Right. Yeah. I tell some of the parents I work with that when your child becomes 18 or are approaching adulthood, you do need to give them a little bit of space. You need to teach them the tools, or you have taught them the tools, or remind them of the tools you taught them. We become at that time like support and guidance, and like a bumper. They're going through life and they're struggling a little bit, and you see them maybe going the wrong way, and so you kind of give them a little guidance. Like, well, I'm not exactly going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to give you this advice, because you're at, like you said, you're at an age right now where I can't save you. If you get out here and you get yourself in trouble, you're of age now. They're going to take you where they take you, to jail, something, but whatever. But at some age, you cannot save them. So you're trying to give them everything you can, and that guidance and that support. When they turn that, because they're still young, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes, but we still try to like step in and say, hey, don't go that way. So you're like a bumper system. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, so Christine, in your role, what are some of the commonalities that you see and like some of your frustrations on that chair that you sit in?
I just had this discussion actually earlier in a week on another podcast. We were talking about when clients come to therapy, or people come to therapy, they're not always ready to heal, and they're coming because they want to feel better. They come, they say, I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety. I'm up at night. I can't sleep well. My heart's racing. I'm arguing a lot with my family. I can't seem to communicate well as I used to, or whatever it might be. And they just want to feel better. They want us to give them the tools, take deep breaths, take time for yourself, set some boundaries and things like that. And then they get to a point to where they're utilizing the tools that you worked on in therapy. And then they come to therapy sometimes, and they still come, but the session is very quiet. They don't have much to say, and you're sitting on this side and you're like, well, I know there's more there, because we did the biopsychosocial and you told me a little bit. So I know there's more there, but they're not ready to heal because they're not ready to feel the pain. In order to heal, we have to feel the pain, right? We have to be able to to go inside and reflect and cry and sometimes you leave session and you feel depressed even more than you did when you came in because you shared something, and trying to work through that. Sometimes depending on, if we're working through some trauma, you might have days where you're like, I just can't, that sadness lingers. And I think we as people sometimes are in that role of survival, and we tell ourselves, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go to therapy and deal with all this stuff and be sad or tired and have to call out of work because I have a family to take care of. I have things to do, So you find people that will delay it, delay the healing process. They'll come for tools, but they delay the healing, So that gets a little frustrating because I know that if you do the work, you'll feel better. And on the other side of that, life can feel so much easier in a sense for you, But I also, as a clinician, have to realize that I need to be patient as well with people and allow them to get there when they're ready to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Does your job take its toll on you sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. So I have to be mindful of my own self-care, and I try to, and I very much do stick to like boundaries, like time boundaries. When time's up, got something else to go, somewhere else to be. That's strict with it, but in the past, I would let someone go on and on and on, and I'd be in a session for like an hour and a half, and it's like, or something. And then you delay everything else, and then by the time you get done, you're beat down. The misconception about how the community sometimes thinks of therapists is that we just sit here and go, yeah, but some days, you're helping. You may not say much, but you're processing, and
sure.
And you might interject and stuff. So it can be exhausting, mentally exhausting. Yeah.
I agree.
Because
I did social worker work, and you really do have to set boundaries. And I had the youth from ages, I want to say 10 to 18. And when they fill out their, like the form that you mentioned is you said psychobiosocial.
Biopsychosocial.
Yeah, well, we had to fill those out with the youth, and they say, well, don't disclose this or reveal this to the parent. And that kind of falls underneath the HIPAA guidelines as well. And it's like the parent, when we met with them in cohorts to have the group session to talk about what their kid was going through, how they feeling, it's like, and they want to pull that out of you, but the kid asks you not to, you know what I'm saying? How do you relate this to the parents? So we had to come up with creative ways through games or movies or whatever, to kind of express what their kid was going through indirectly without directly telling them what they disclosed to us as social workers, what they was going through. And it was kind of tough because hearing some of those stories, I'm sitting there looking like, what? We think we have problems. At this young age, they going through all of this, and this how they feeling, or and then you come home at night, you want to leave work there and not bringing it home, because then now you feeling all sad and depressed from what you don't perceive when they disclose that to you. It's like, wow.
Yeah, you take it on sometimes. You take that on and be like, the rest of your night be like, dang.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
It is, because I had a case, and can't go over the person's name or whatever, but you can discuss the case with a little girl. And the kids that I had, they was we know of juvie, but down here they don't call it the juvenile detention centers. They call it residence. They're in residence because they're staying there on lockdown and also receiving an education while they're in their residence, serving their time. So I had one young lady, when she finally came out, she was pregnant. She got home. She didn't know that her mom did not have any lights, They was posing eviction. They didn't have no food. They calling me, hey, I need help. Can you get us something to eat? This and the third or whatever. And all these different federal agencies that deal with just similar cases like us, my hands was tied because I couldn't give them the food or any of that. I had to go to another agency which was not available to explain what was going on. And I'm sitting there like, and a kid crying, I'm hungry and I have to feed my baby and my mom and this. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what can I do in this situation? And if I went and spent my own money and they found out about it that I did it, I could have got banged for that. So I'm like, it was tough.
Yeah.
And Christine, just when you talk about how you have to be patient with people, when it comes to people who are super productive and then super lazy, and in that middle portion of people who just fall in between, most people fall, and I do mean most people fall right in that middle portion of just between lazy and extremely hardworking.
Right.
So that those two other demographics, you're not, so the ones that you said, the ones that you have to be patient with, I would imagine that's the largest demographic. It's the of people. Like some people you would tell something one time to and they got it, and they probably never had to see you again because they needed, that was the only, they about to go apply and they don't need you no more. Then you have some who will never learn. They just gonna forever be talking to you and ain't gonna never make a move, never make a change. And then you have that portion middle that, like you said, you had to be patient with it. How right or wrong am I with that assessment?
Well, you're right, but I think you also have to be patient with the ones that are up here, doing all the work, or the high achievers, because they think they already have all the answers, So when you're and so you're trying
good point.
You're trying to give them the information, and they're like, "Well, I've tried it already." Okay. Well, did you try it the way I'm telling you? You know what I mean? Because they already have the answer, so that patience, that you try to like get them out of their head and help them realize why we're here, why'd you come, what's your presenting problem, what you told me, why you're here. So you're here to do something, right? Yeah. So you don't have all the answer.
So sometimes do you have to kind of exert your authority in those moments when you feel like you're getting too much pushback or arrogance from people, or lack of humility or hubris? Do you feel like that you have to?
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I just remind them why they're here. If that's exerting my authority, but it's like I just try to remind people why you came, right? You picked up the phone, or you found me on the internet. You reached out. I didn't seek you out. So you're here for some kind of help, or you're here because you want me. Sometimes you want me to validate what you're feeling, and I have to say, well, or how you're behaving, and I have to say, nah, because what I'm not going to do is let someone come in here and then tell me that they're doing something, and I know that it's hurting them. And then validate it's okay because they want to feel validated that how they're speaking to someone or hurting other people in their life is okay. No, I'm not going to tell you that.
Interesting. Okay.
And she mentioned that she worked with, you say, mental patients as well? Those that suffer with mental illness? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's very challenging as well.
Yeah. And that's one that takes patience and only word that come to mind is balls, because they get real rah with you, and you have to not show fear or they'll topple all over you. That even if you are scared, you can't show them that, because that's the end of it for you. Yeah. So kudos to you for even being able to survive such, Christine.
But I don't think she have. I mean, not. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Christine. Not all your patients that you work with that may have mental illness, they're not always rah-rah. Some of them are very conniving and smooth with it, or they like to manipulate you and play the mind games. I mean, they come at you from different angles. They don't always come in an aggressive manner. Am I correct or not?
Mm-mm. Oh, you're correct. Yeah. No, they're not always aggressive. In any way. You know, I deal with the population of individuals that are they're working, you know, they work every day, kind of working families. They are you know, they may have had some trauma in their life, childhood trauma that, you know, that's spilling out into their adult life and affecting their work or their relationships. I work with people, of course, that have the anxiety, have anxieties, that have depression, all those kinds of things. So they're not all. I don't have an aggressive population that I work with at this point. I used to, but not now. Not in my private practice.
Anything that trigger them, you know, that here come the anxiety attack, or like you say, um, the panic attacks and things like that. And I look like, what just triggered you? And like you said, it could be something that they experienced as a child, or, you know, and it triggered that. And like you say, now it's affecting the marriage. And if they don't never disclose that to their spouse and they're keeping it as a well kept secret, then now they battling, well, how can I keep this as a secret? But then they looking at me while I'm going through the situation, explain to what I'm experiencing to my mate without damaging my relationship.
Right. Yeah. And we get couples that will come for that. You know, they will come and they will talk about that very thing. Yeah. That they
Christine, why'd you get off screen?
I don't know. What's this? It says, oh wait. There's something here that says your browser has lost connection to your camera. Let me see.
Oh.
I don't know what happened.
They have to go back out and come back.
Okay. Oh wait. Here's the thing. See if this works.
Look at Queen smiling at her new. Your hair look good, Queen.
Baby.
Yeah, thank you. Got a share black in the back end. Yeah, she my sister. I mean, I told her I want to do something different because, you know.
Can you see me?
But, we can see you now. So we have an event coming up. So could you do something to me, you know, to my hair real quick? And she took it upon herself blowing it out. And y'all know I'm not. This ain't me. So she's like, I want to see the old you, how you do your hair perm. Okay.
Oh man.
You I know I had a small window of therapy at one point, and the therapist, she said to me, you know, we had our first session and she's like, what's going on? And I explained. And I was mad because I was angry. Which is something that I'm typically not. And she was like, anger is an emotion. It's okay to be angry. But we just can't stay there. So that it was really difficult for me to, because I always had this question: why did this person make me feel this way? Like I couldn't get past that. And so my question to you is, like, she was giving me homework every week. You know, I want you to try this. I want you to write this down. I want you to do these exercises. And the one thing I remember her saying was about 90% of her patients had issues with therapy because they were in denial. She was like, my awareness level was almost like a miracle. She was like, actually know this is what's going on. I'm accepting it, and I'm ready to take, the challenge to fix it.
Right.
So, do you give your clients, homework or challenges, when they leave you?
Yes, I do. I give them homework, whether it's a worksheet or sometimes it's just something to think about between now and next session. If they brought something up that I caught, and I'll say, well, when you talked about X, Y, and Z, I really want you to take that information home and reflect on that. And when you come back next time, we might start there, because there's still more there to unpack and process through. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they get homework. Yeah.
And shout out to our producer Snitchy Smurf. I see that you put the Join the Journey up. I want to definitely make the audience aware of the Join the Journey image here, where you see Christine's Instagram, her socials. So please reach out if you would like to follow her or join her journey. There's all of the information needed. I definitely got to make sure that I'm following you on all social media platforms, because you're interesting. I like how your disposition is just calming. And I wanted to ask you how you managed to keep such a cool head in sometimes a probably hostile or frustrating session or environment, or whether you do, or like, how do you keep that cool head?
I do. I gotta be honest. When I grew up, I realized I was angry. And I did my own stuff. I did my own work in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I learned that, what was underneath the anger that I was holding on to, what was those emotions and those feelings and all that kind of stuff. So now when I get angry, I'm able to catch it faster before I go from 0 to 1,000, as my husband says. I still have my moments, but within certain spaces, I'm able to, hold it together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the answer to the question is you do your own work. I had to do my own work.
That's good. That's good. One of the ways that I'm trying to grow is I found out that somebody did something very shady to me, and I called to tell my parents about it. And I said to myself, Key, before you get on the phone, try to get through the description of what happened without calling this lady a bitch. And I did it. So I'm so happy. I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, just tell the story. Don't call her a bitch to your parents. And I did it. And so that's growth. That's a trajectory. I'm real proud of myself. I'm going to go have a brownie or something after the show, because I'm growing as a person.
Sometimes small goals, right?
Small wins.
Yes.
Mikeisha, don't come on here talking stuff like that, because now I'm want to know who did something to you. Because
no, I got you. Yeah, man. I mean, it happened. I mean, you told me, Tamika, and I related it because everything is interconnected. Everything is, and I appreciate you. You said everybody is not your friend, and she wasn't a friend, but she was somebody who I thought we was all right. But behind my back, man, she was. But I did not call her. Man, I'm proud of myself. I love you, so. You're doing good. I know you want to know, Tam, and I know Neek want to know too.
And Will.
Group chat.
I know. Look. There they go. You see this, Christine? You see? Look.
Did y'all say a couple of months ago that we have to check in on each other and lean on each other and support each other and be our sister keeper?
Yeah.
So this is that moment. We need you to put in the group chat so we can all kumbaya and woosah together.
I got you.
Don't call Deacon Best with that mess.
Deacon Best, she said, wait a minute, let me warm up my food so I can hit the store. She want to hear. Okay, mommy be right there. Mommy champions for her kids every time.
Speaking of mothers, so I really don't want to go back in the process of the conversation, but when that person called your son the N-word, what did you do? Because I think I might have lost it a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I did. When he came home and said that, and Because when he was younger, my son, he used to be very, very active. Like he's the kid that if he thought something was unfair, you were going to know that it was unfair, and this I found out that this kid was in 6th grade, 2nd grade. Someone called him. He told me for the first time. I talked to him about it, tried to keep a rational head, tell him about how things are different and that this is not what you are. And I did, of course, call the school and all those things. But when he was in 6th grade, there was a girl, and I didn't know that she was calling him that. And then he would react in class, and then he would get in trouble. And then the teacher would always call, and he would always, RJ's doing this, RJ's doing that, and all this kind of stuff. So then finally, when he got a new principal came to his school who happened to be a Black woman, and she pulled him in and she talked to him, and he told her that this girl in his class kept calling him a nigger, and he was like, and every time he would say something, she would act like, oh, RJ's yelling at me, RJ called me a fat pig, RJ did this, RJ, all this kind of stuff. And then he would get in trouble and she would cry. So then he's in trouble, and then he's mad because now in his mind, his little mind, it's unfair that I'm getting in trouble and she's not. But when I found that out, I would have emailed the president if I had to. I emailed everybody at that school, the teacher, I informed them of like all this time, you never checked to see what was really happening. You went by his response, never went over and asked him, well, what happened? And try to investigate, all that information. But you were so quick to call me and tell me that my kid did all these things, right? So yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah, we can fight for the babies.
I know we're coming down to the end of the show, but I want you to if you could give us no invoice, don't give me no invoice. All right, I gotta pay my mortgage. But if you could give us, the listeners, J King Network, the host of this show, Snitchy Smurf, J King, just like 3 or 4 tools, just navigating life with what it is that you do, what would they be?
I would say 1, be true to yourself. No matter what. Be true to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. If you're hurting, say you're hurting. If you're angry, say you're angry. The second thing I would say is set boundaries. They're so vital and essential to our life. And people have a difficult time setting boundaries sometimes because they feel guilty or they feel like they're going to hurt the other person. But you have to think about it. If the other person continues to do the same behavior, that's kind of what I say, holding you hostage in a sense, whether it's emotional or not, aren't they hurting you? Don't you have a right to set a boundary and tell somebody else, stop hurting me? So be okay with setting boundaries. And the third thing I would say is I'm Christian, and I believe that I can say this with all truth and honesty, that all the things I've been through in my life, God has always been faithful. I don't know whatever your understanding of God is, find it and lean in on it. Because when everybody leaves and everybody's not here no more, and you think you're all by yourself and you're all alone, you're never really alone. He's there. Yeah. Which is what your LLC is called. Isn't it called Never Alone? Never Journey Alone. Is that like, and is that what that is? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. This has been a beautiful, free-flowing conversation that I've appreciated and I value. I'm going to go back and watch it and learn some things. Mm-hmm. Christine, thank you for being our guest. Thank you for having me. You were so good talking to all of you. Mm-hmm. And I wish you nothing but the best. Keep doing the Lord's work and fight the good fight and keep that cool temperament. And before I go, Snitchy and everybody, thank you all for listening, whether you're listening live or in rewind. You got Tam here, Wham, Tam and Queen of Hearts and your girl, Kiki from DC. We're here every Thursday, 9 to 10, right here on the J King Network. Be easy, be safe. We love y'all. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
You knew?
Nope.